Hello Scorpio friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Scorpio June 2025 astrology horoscope forecast. We've got a major occurrence this month with Jupiter going into the sign of Cancer, and that's going to bring a lot of changes for Scorpio. We're going to talk about that and so much more that's going on this month. My intention is to help you have the best month possible and give you the information that will help you to do that. This is for you if Scorpio is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Scorpio placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And very late degree Scorpio friends, so birthdays like November 15th through the rest of the sign, or Scorpio degrees 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Sagittarius report, as you Scorpitarius friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so where to start? Let's start with some of the shorter term energy. We do have Jupiter just a little bit longer until June 9th in Gemini, when it will move to Cancer, fellow water sign for you for a year of blessings. We'll get into that soon. But Jupiter for the remaining time, plus Mercury, the Sun, Hygeia, and Sedna for like a really long time, really long time, are all, and actually Uranus is not quite in Gemini yet, but it's coming soon. So there's a lot of energy in Gemini, short term and long term. So what does that mean? Information overload, massive amounts of movement and communication, talking, prolific expression, writing emails, writing books, writing whatever. This is information coming in and going out. We also have a lot of strong Sagittarius energy this month with the full moon on June 11th. I guess most importantly, Jupiter moving into your house of Sagittarius, which we'll get to. So that is another sign that is infamous for movement, for action, for prolific expression, for expansion, and for communication. So, it's going to be very busy that way. And both of those signs are very, very infamous for travel. So you will likely be packing, going somewhere. And if you're not, you're probably driving all around the place, doing extra stuff, busier than you can imagine. Gemini rules the respiratory tract, so just protect your respiratory tract more at this time, because when you're run ragged from this energy, which is this upward spiral, then, you could be going in all different directions at once, and you will be, and that could leave you more susceptible to colds and things like that. So just keep yourself on high alert with whatever you do with your wellness routine. That paying a little extra special attention here can help keep you well. Okay, now the Gemini energy is not one that flows in a nice way for Scorpio the way Jupiter is going to. Again, I'm foreshadowing, but so it's just something to know. This is outwardly busy, where Scorpio is usually inwardly busy. Of course, not to say that Scorpios aren't outwardly busy, but how energy flows through you is very inwardly busy. When you look at a Scorpio, wow, there's a lot going on in there, right? You can just tell from looking at a Scorpio's eyes. Like, it's very, very busy on the inner planes. This is busy on the outer planes. So this, slightly challenged angle is just going to show that, you'll be busy on all fronts. Now for Scorpio, this Gemini stellium, which is 3 or more placements, is activating your 8th house of Scorpio. So contracts, other people's money, wills, merging, investments, government money, loans, credit cards, taxes, debt, all of that. You're going to have a lot of things going on with that. You probably already have a lot going on with that, because Jupiter, has been here for a year, since May of last year. So you've had a lot of deep merging with people. You've had a lot of deep conversations, moving around of money, expansion of money, investments, etc. And now Jupiter's leaving that space, but Uranus is getting ready to go in there. And these short-term Gemini placements are going to bring extra push this month. So just be prepared to be having negotiations, important discussions. You could have some important endings within contracts or agreements, and some very exciting new beginnings. One of the most important things to know about this month, it's one of the only months in all of 2025 that we don't have any planets retrograde except your ruler Pluto, which is retrograde more than half the time. But all the outer planets, all the inner planets are all going direct. And the ones closest to us, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, there's Venus, Mars, Mercury, they're all not only moving direct, but we don't have any pre or post shadow periods for their transits. So that makes this the most clear month, one of the most clear months in the entire year for big decisions, clarity, moving forward, agreements, contracts, just things of very, very big magnitude. If you follow my analogies with the tides, since September, we've had a lot of energy of the tides moving in. So until middle May, it was the best advice to just hang out on the shore. And you could do a lot of work here. Just wait to launch your boats or your messages in a bottle or whatever you want to launch out into life, because the tides coming in would bounce back to you what you were trying to put out. It has been more of a time for inward and backward focus. But as of, April, things started to shift. They started moving forward more. May, the shadows kept, getting stripped from the situation. As of the middle of May, we're now free and clear, and all of June. So you may see rapid forward movement on things that had been pending for a very long time. And I'm sure that will be a great relief to you. Now, your personal relationships are going to be massively highlighted, and Venus moving into Taurus is going to only add to those series of blessings. Venus, who I also like to refer to as my grandma Marge, was one of my Italian relatives who would kiss me on the face, tell me how great I am, give me money, give me a meatball, and give me a hug. So basically all these Venusian comforts. And so Grandma Marge is going to be accentuating your seventh house relationships, which can mean a lot of, arrangements with money, dealings, interactions about finances. You could be spending money, you could be making money, you could be collaborating. This is a very strong collaboration month, right? So just know that about it, and you have all these blessings to move forward. Also, we're out of eclipse season. We spend a lot of time in eclipse season because change is life and life is change. But this month, it's not that we won't have change. Gemini will make sure of it, right? Because Gemini is so busy, it needs change. But those changes that we went through in March, April into May, those big life-changing ones with Aries and Libra eclipse cycle ending and the Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle being in its second chapter, those kind of big trajectory shifts, we're taking more of like a back seat now. So unless you have something going on in your personal chart that could activate something like that, the general transits are really leading to the integration of those big changes. More of like, take a deep breath. Okay, it's busy, but at least, we have a new direction. We're getting set in the new direction. And a lot of those things that came up then are falling back into kind of a new normal. All right. So Mars has been accentuating your 10th house of work. And this has, again, been for a while because was dancing back and forth between Cancer and Leo since the end of last year. And now it's finishing its final push through your 10th house. So you will see some things complete in your work and employment sector, or a passion project that may not be for work. And you'll notice that. And then Mars will move along to Virgo, which accentuates your acquaintances and your friendships and your groups. So you may find that your focus goes into becoming part of groups, becoming part of something greater, lending your creativity to a bigger cause or a bigger output. And, and that you'll see that happening this month. Something else to know about this month is that we also have just very busy skies. We don't have the eclipses to deal with, we don't have the retrogrades to deal with, but we have a lot of planetary aspects. Planets coming together in a meaningful mathematical configuration mean things for us on Earth. We experience those mathematical connections. Everything in life is mathematical, really. It boils down to math. And we see this in the sky, that when these angles come together, the planets that move, within this mathematical motion, stuff happens for us. So we have very busy skies, and you will see that. But we do have almost as many sweet aspects as we do salty ones, but we have a lot of each. Okay, so you can see a full list of my sweet and salty report, and plus I have information about 2 outer planet connections, which I don't have time to get into now, but it's just a very busy month. So if you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, it will say join my free VIP community, put your name and email address in there, get the welcome letter, click on the archive link, put June 2025 astrology, and you'll get that monthly written star report with the sweet and salty dates and my favorite dates of those dates and the ones to be most awareful and careful of and what to expect. Okay, it's very, very detailed. I spend a lot of time on that each month. Okay, but besides that, it's just important to know that there's just a lot of activity in the sky. All right, now let's get to this very exciting major changes for Scorpio that are coming from Jupiter's movement. So Jupiter changes signs every year. It goes through all the signs every 12 years, which means that the movement it's going to make now hasn't been present since 2013. Actually, I'll give the exact dates here in a minute, because as I explain the things that you might see, you can compare and go back. I'll go back to Jupiter cycles and give you those dates so that you can see what happened then, so that you can better understand what you may see now. Now, the first thing is a general thing, so I'm just going to start with that. When Jupiter goes into the sign of Cancer, all signs can experience the energy of Cancer. I'm liking to call this bloom where you're planted, and I'm noticing as I'm looking at a lot of world affairs that are happening, there are things that are occurring that are making a lot of people stay home rather than travel abroad. Now, I keep politics and everything like that out of my work. My work is to help you understand the transits and understand the energy behind them. But if you're noticing that there are things that are interfering with you getting very far away from your home space, Jupiter might be starting to tell this story of blooming where you're planted, unless Jupiter is planting you in a new place. And Scorpio is one of the exceptions here, because Jupiter is going to expand home and family and housing and real estate and your inner world and your connection to your ancestry and your roots. And that's true for everyone. But specifically for Scorpio, that Jupiter is expanding your 9th house of Sagittarius, which is the farthest traveling sign of the whole zodiac. So while most of the major general focus for Jupiter is about making your home, expanded, focusing on moves or your house or expanding your family or something like that, you have that going on at the same time as you actually have the chance for going far and wide, immigration, education to expand your career, teaching and learning in different countries and different languages and international business, and all of that is going on. Okay, so I'll tell you a little bit more about what to expect, but let me give you some dates. This transit is going to be happening from June 9th, 2025, I always like to give a 3-month or before. So that's May, April, March. Okay, so since March, we've been starting to really feel this Jupiter and Cancer energy. It's a concurrent energetic that's happening at the same time as Jupiter in Gemini, which was expanding your prolific expression and communication between people and those other things we talked about before. So for these 3 months from March until June, you were feeling both at the same time. And now this will go very strong until June of 2026. Okay? Now, think back to around March of 2013 through around July of 2014. That's the last time that Jupiter was in Cancer. It was from June 2013 to July 2014, but I'm giving that 3-month radius, so we'll say around March of 2013. Think about the things that happened then. Think about the ways that your life was expanded. Think about the deeper intimacy, the closer relationships, the entanglement with money, the entanglement with emotions and spiritual connections, diving, deeper into learning or teaching or moving. Many people will move far away during this transit. And you Scorpios, you may have. I know that my husband is a Scorpio, and we moved during that time then as well, far away from where we were. So this is a very common thing, and you may see it. Now, if you are blooming where you're planted, like I said, that could be one of the things that happen. You may see expansion of your home. You may add on. You may beautify it. You may change, close in your garage and use it for something else. You may acquire real estate or a second home or investments or something like that. Now, if you're old enough, think back to 2001 and 2002, July, we'll say April-ish of 2001 through around August of 2002. Think back to what happened in those times, because you will, along the lines of what I'm talking about, teaching and learning and expanding horizons and, education in different countries and cultures and languages and travel, and also an expanding of what your sense of family is. Many people will find, a person of consequence, a romantic partner, a roommate, a friend, someone that expands who they feel is family. If it basically Jupiter's additive, so whatever you have, it will add to it. You may find that person. If you have that person, you may become engaged, or you may have a child, or you may become married, or you may move in together. It's basically expanding whatever home is for you. And that can change for different people, because for some people, moving to the city is expansion, right? Because you have so many possibilities. For some people, moving to the country is expansion because you have more space, so it's a subjective experience of expansion in the home and family, and in the, kind of belief systems and ways of seeing things. Now, you may notice that you become more positive. If you've been depressed, or if you've been struggling with your neurotransmitter cascade, you may find resources, and I'll just put one here. I'm not a doctor. You got to check with yours. Muse, M-U-S-E. I don't know if it's muse.com, honestly, but if you look for the Muse headband and then the accompanying app, it can help you understand your brainwave states. And brainwaves really, really, really shift how we see things and how we experience things. So it's basically brain neurofeedback that's accessible to individuals at home with this app and with this headband. So maybe something like that. But there are a million ways that your mood and your optimism and that your gratitude can expand and can lift. Because as I said, when Jupiter goes through Cancer, it's fellow water sign. That means it's trining your Scorpio placements. Okay? So whenever, if you're earlier in the time, you'll get your exact trine sooner, and if you're in the middle or later, it may take longer to get your exact trine. But the fact that it's trining the sign period can still bring a year of these possibilities for you. Okay, so while we're on the topic of Cancer energy, besides Jupiter moving there, on the 25th, we also have the new moon in Cancer. New possibilities, another like birth or planting seeds for your home and your family and your real estate and all of those things. So we have a lot of energy there. And of course, that Sag energy, which is the sign or the house that Jupiter's going in for Scorpio. We also have on June 11th, the full moon at 20 degrees. So there's a lot of this Cancer Sagittarius energy happening this month. Okay, so I've given you a lot of dates. If you want more dates, go to anniehelpsyou.com, go to the free VIP community tab, click on it, put your name and email address in, see the archive link in the welcome letter, put June 2025 in the search, and you will get this sweet and salty report. It is very detailed, and it will really help you to, move through the month with more awareness. If you want personalized reports from me, if you want to know what all the outer planets are doing, we're going to have between last year and early 2026, like this period of time, we're having all the outer planets move into different signs. It's very unusual for this to happen. If you want to know where they are for you, I have a personalized outer planet transit report. Go to anniebclarity.com, Annie, the letter B, clarity.com. And if you want to learn astrology, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com. My astrology certification course is there. Also, if you want more details about what Jupiter may do for all of your placements that you watch for, your rising, your moon, your sun sign, when you go to anniehelpsyou.com and you scroll down and you see the secret star portal, I will have Jupiter reports for each sign, very detailed ones, in that special access portal. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.